All right, so get ready because today we're diving into something a little different. We're not looking at like a research paper or, a typical bestseller this time.
Right.
But instead, we found this kind of feisty little ebook online.
Yeah.
It's called 15 Questions About Social Media.
Interesting.
And you know how everyone's always going on and on about social media?
Yeah.
It's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Yeah, got to be on it.
Well, this author is not buying it.
Really?
Not one bit. And they are not afraid to say so.
Well, good for them.
I kind of admire that.
Yeah, it is refreshing to see someone, pushing back against all that hype.
Right.
All that typical social media hype.
Yeah.
This author, they really dig into, is it really all it's cracked up to be?
Yeah.
Especially for businesses.
Exactly.
I think that's what's so interesting about this.
Yeah, and they pack a lot of punch
Okay.
into a quick 15-minute read.
Wow.
So think of this deep dive as our way of kind of guiding you through these 15 questions.
Thank you. And figuring out what the author's really saying, particularly when it comes to social media marketing.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to approach this.
Yeah.
Because it's a good opportunity to step back from all that noise, the constant social media buzz.
Yeah. Are we just accepting everything we hear?
Right. Are we just on autopilot?
Yeah.
Or are we actually stopping and thinking critically about social media's impact,
Totally.
on us and, our businesses and everything?
Okay, so let's unpack the author's first point.
All right, let's do it.
They're seriously skeptical of all that hype surrounding social media.
I mean...
that idea that it's this magical solution for all your marketing woes?
Yeah, it's going to solve all your problems.
Right.
Just get on social media.
Just get on there.
Everything will be fine.
And everything will magically work out.
Yeah, and I think their skepticism is warranted.
Think about it, how often do you see companies chasing likes and engagement metrics?
Oh, yeah.
But without a clear understanding
Yeah.
of how those actually translate into business results.
It's such a good point.
Right.
You can have 1 million likes,
Yeah.
but if nobody's buying anything,
Exactly.
what's the point?
It's like they're so busy trying to be popular
Right.
that they forget why they're there.
Yeah, they forget the whole point.
In social media in the first place.
They forget about the business.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so true.
And that's where the author's distinction between social networks and social media comes in.
Okay, I'm interested.
So they argue that social networks,
Uh-huh.
those are about genuine human connection.
Okay.
But social media has become more about broadcasting messages.
Right.
And kind of trying to manipulate those connections for marketing.
Interesting.
So it's a subtle but important difference.
Yeah, so is it kind of real friendships are about connecting on a personal level?
Yeah.
And social media is more standing on a soapbox,
Oh, I like that.
shouting at a crowd,
Yeah.
hoping someone will buy what you're selling.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Because it really highlights the author's concern that companies might be losing sight of the real value of connecting with people authentically.
Right. So it's not just about getting your message out there.
Right.
It's about making a real connection.
Exactly. It's about building relationships
Okay.
with your audience.
Got it. And that leads us right into their critique of social media marketing practices, right?
Yeah.
They seem to think a lot of companies are doing it all wrong.
Yeah. I mean, what's really interesting is
Yeah.
how the author challenges this common practice of sending website visitors to social media platforms.
Oh, yeah.
Think about that for a second.
Yeah.
Why would you send potential customers away from your own website where you have more control?
Right. You have more control on your website.
Yeah, and you can kind of guide them towards a purchase.
It seems counterintuitive
Doesn't it?
when you put it that way.
It's like inviting people into your shop and then being like, but go check out the store across the street.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead.
Why would you do that?
Right.
You're just sending business away.
And it raises the question,
Yeah.
are businesses prioritizing social media engagement
Okay.
over actual conversions?
Interesting question.
Yeah.
And speaking of engagement, the author really goes after that buzzword.
Okay.
They even pose the question,
What's that?
do people really want to engage with brands on social media?
It's a provocative question, isn't it?
It is.
Are companies truly ready for the kind of two-way conversations that real engagement requires?
Right.
Or are they just looking for those superficial interactions that just boost their metrics?
Like, are they really ready to have a real conversation?
Exactly.
And those metrics, especially the Facebook like, that gets put under the microscope too.
Okay.
The author claims it's become this overhyped measure of success that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
I mean, think about it this way.
Yeah.
You could have thousands of likes on a post.
Right.
But if none of those people are actually buying your product or service, what's the real value?
Right. It's just a vanity metric.
Yeah. And the author suggests that chasing likes can actually distract companies from focusing on more meaningful goals.
Like what?
Like building relationships and driving sales.
Right. Like the stuff that really matters.
Yeah, exactly. The things that actually impact your bottom line.
It's like getting a gold star for participation, but failing the actual test.
You showed up.
You were there.
But you didn't really do the work.
But you didn't actually learn anything. That's a good analogy.
And this ties into the concept of organic reach.
Okay.
Which refers to how many people see your content without you having to pay for it.
Okay.
The author claims that the free lunch is over.
What do they mean by that?
Basically, companies can no longer rely on organic reach to get their message in front of their target audience.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, it used to be that you could just post something.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would see it without you spending any money.
Exactly. It was like free advertising.
Okay.
But now it's like social media platforms are saying, hey, if you want people to see your stuff, you got to pay up.
So they want you to boost your posts and...
Exactly. They're pushing businesses towards paid promotion.
Gotcha.
And this brings up a whole bunch of questions about its effectiveness and whether companies are getting a good return on their investment.
So where does this leave businesses?
That is the question, isn't it?
Yeah. Is the author suggesting we all just abandon social media completely?
Well, we'll have to dive into that a little bit later.
We'll be right back after this.
Well, not necessarily. Like, they raise some valid points about the potential pitfalls of social media marketing. Yeah. But they also acknowledge that it can be a powerful tool.
Okay.
When used strategically.
Right. It's all about how you use it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not inherently good or bad.
Right.
It's how you approach it.
Yeah. And I love that question that they pose.
Which one?
About what is the dumbest social media stunt ever?
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
It really makes you stop and think about all the crazy things companies do on social media.
Oh, yeah. Totally. Just to get attention.
Yeah. Are they actually connecting with their audience?
Right.
Or are they just trying to go viral for the sake of it?
Exactly. Yeah. And I think the author's encouraging a more critical and thoughtful approach to social media.
So it's not just about...
It's not about blindly following trends or chasing those vanity metrics.
Right.
It's about understanding your audience, understanding your goals, and how social media can actually help you achieve them in a meaningful way.
So it's less about shouting from the rooftops and more about having a genuine conversation.
Exactly. And being prepared to adapt as the landscape changes, you know.
Right, because things are constantly changing.
The social media world is constantly evolving.
Yeah.
So what worked yesterday might not work today.
It's like trying to hit a moving target.
That's a great way to put it.
You constantly have to be adjusting your end.
You got to stay on your toes.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important to stay informed and be willing to experiment.
You know, it's funny.
What?
This whole ebook is framed as a series of questions.
Yeah.
But it actually provides a lot of insightful answers.
I think that's the power of asking the right questions.
Yeah.
It can really spark that critical thinking and lead to a deeper understanding.
Right, like that question the author poses about customer service.
Oh, yeah.
Are social media useful for customer service?
Right.
It seems simple, but it makes you think.
It does.
About how social media is changing.
Yeah.
The way businesses interact with their customers.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
I mean, I've definitely noticed a shift in how companies are handling customer service on social media.
It's not just about responding to complaints anymore.
Right. It's not just about putting out fires. It's about building those relationships.
Yeah.
Creating a positive brand experience.
Okay.
And even using social media as a platform for proactive customer service.
I've definitely seen companies using social media to get ahead of potential problems.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Like addressing a widespread issue.
Yeah.
Before it becomes a huge PR nightmare.
Right. Get out in front of it.
Be proactive.
Control the narrative.
And they're using it to gather feedback and insights from their customers in real time.
Which can be so valuable for product development, marketing strategies.
All that stuff.
You're getting direct feedback.
Great. From your customers.
From the source.
The author also brings up the concept of earned media.
Yes.
Which I think is super important.
It is.
In today's digital world.
So earned media.
Yeah.
That's basically the exposure you get when other people share your content. Mention your brand. Write reviews.
So it's not just what you say about your brand, it's what other people are saying.
Exactly. It's like word of mouth marketing.
Word of mouth.
But amplified by the power of the internet.
The power of social media.
And
that can be really powerful.
So powerful.
Especially when it's positive.
Especially in a world where consumers are just bombarded. With marketing messages from every direction.
It's like they can't escape it.
They're tuning it out.
So you need something to cut through the noise.
Exactly.
And what's more powerful than a recommendation from a friend or a family member?
It's that social proof.
It's like a stamp of approval from your peers.
Exactly. And that can be incredibly influential.
But as the author points out, earning that positive attention is becoming increasingly challenging.
It is.
Especially with organic reach declining.
That's what he said before.
Yeah.
You got to work twice as hard.
You got to work harder.
To get noticed.
To get seen, to get heard.
And that's why it's crucial for businesses. To create content that's truly valuable. And shareable.
You can't just expect people to engage with your brand. Just because you have a social media presence.
Because you exist.
You got to give them a reason to care. To share, to talk about your brand.
You got to give them something worth talking about.
So it all circles back to the author's main point.
What's that?
Social media marketing is not a magic bullet. It requires effort.
It does.
Strategy.
Yes.
And a deep understanding of your audience.
And it's about being authentic. Transparent. Engaging in a way that feels genuine to your brand.
Yeah. Like you said, people can spot a fake.
From a mile away.
From a mile away.
They can smell it.
This ebook really is a great reminder that we should always be questioning
our assumptions.
And looking for ways to improve our approach to social media.
Never stop learning.
It's about being critical thinkers, not just passive consumers.
Not just scrolling mindlessly.
Of the latest social media trends.
You got to engage with it.
So if we take the author's points to heart, what does this all mean for the future of social media marketing?
That is the question.
Is everything we know about social media about to change? Yeah, that is the question, isn't it? Like the $1 million question.
It really is.
If what we think of as, like traditional social media marketing is losing its effectiveness, like what's next?
Where do we go from here?
What new approaches are companies going to have to explore to connect with their audiences, in a meaningful way?
I mean, it's like we're at a crossroads, right?
Totally. Yeah, it feels like a turning point.
Like we're on the verge of something new.
So what do you think that new thing is?
Well, maybe we're moving away from just broadcasting messages.
Oh, okay.
And more towards like fostering genuine connections.
Okay, so less about broadcasting, more about connecting.
Yeah, because think about it, like people crave authenticity. They want to feel like they're part of a community.
Right. They don't want to feel like they're just being sold to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They want to feel like they're part of something bigger.
So maybe it's less about pushing products and more about building relationships, telling stories, sharing experiences.
Creating experiences that people actually want to be a part of.
Yeah. And we can't forget about technology.
Oh, yeah. Technology is always changing.
Right. New platforms are popping up all the time.
Often, right.
Offering different ways to connect and engage.
So companies that are willing to experiment and adapt, they're going to have a huge advantage.
It's like we're entering this new era of social media where authenticity and genuine connection are like the keys.
The keys to success.
This deep dive has really given us a lot to think about.
It really has.
What stands out to you as like the most surprising or thought-provoking point from this ebook?
I think for me, it was just that emphasis on questioning everything.
Okay.
Don't just accept the hype.
Yeah.
The trends. The so-called best practices.
Right.
Like dig deeper.
Ask the tough questions.
Figure out what works best for you.
In your unique situation.
Yeah, because what works for one company may not work for another.
Don't be afraid to challenge the status quo.
And on that note, I think we've reached the end
of our deep dive
into 15 questions about social media.
It's a reminder that we should all stay curious.
Keep learning.
Always looking for ways to improve and evolve.
And to remember that the most effective strategies are often the ones that are tailored to your specific goals and audience.
Right. One size doesn't fit all.
Exactly.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
We hope you found it insightful.
And maybe even a little bit challenging.
If this source has sparked your curiosity, we encourage you to check out the full ebook.
It's a quick read.
But it's packed with those thought-provoking questions.
That can really make you rethink your approach
to social media.
And as always, we'd love to hear your thoughts.
What resonated with you?
What questions are you left pondering?
Until next time.
Keep diving deep.
Stay curious.
Happy exploring.
Today is your lucky day. Today is the day that our $3 website works for you, paying you directly to your PayPal daily. Imagine $3 ongoing continuous payments to your PayPal account. Imagine falling asleep and waking up to $300 in your PayPal account. How would this make you feel? How could this help you? What bills could you pay? What kind of fun could you have? What does that retirement look like now? All for a one-time payment of $3. This website is DFY done for you, fully built and completely hosted, and never stops collecting payments for you. You have spent $3 on coffee on a regular, but that coffee won't help you create multiple streams of income. Click the link below.